Hello, and welcome back to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. So here we are at the start of Season 3. I just thought I'd do this video just to do a quick introduction on what we're going to have in this season, just because there's a few changes which I thought I'd cover without like wasting time in the first review video I do. So we just have this little kind of a sort of taster video, really. So this you should be seeing this sort of early March. For me, it is second week of January because I just got really impatient and I just wanted to start recording videos again. So yeah, so I'm doing this very far in advance. But yeah, anyway, let's dive on with the introduction, and I'll just quickly explain what we got coming up in this next lot of videos. So what's in Season 3? So everything in red is what we've done. Everything in green is what is going to be in this season, this sort of next lot of videos. So it's a Lara block, Zendikar block, Scars and Mirrodin block, and M10 and M11. So it'll be about, how much it'll be? Like 55 decks. Actually, no, 54, because Mirrodin Besiege only has 4 decks for some reason. But I will probably do a what could have been for Mirrodin to do like a missing 5th deck in Mirrodin Besiege. So we'll say 55 decks. So yeah, by the end of this, we'll make really good progress, and then this is like really far in advance. But Season 4 will probably be Innistrad, Return to Ravnica, and Theros, and M12, M13, M14, and then the last season, that's so far in advance already when I'm talking about it, will be Khan's Tarkir, Return to Zendikar, Return to Innistrad, and M15 and Origins. But yeah, that's way in advance. We're just going to focus on the green ones once. So the whole reason I'm doing this introduction video is just because the decks are changing a little bit. So starting with Shards of Alara, they kind of got repackaged and rebranded into intro decks. So sorry, excuse me. So the packaging changes. So rather than the little kind of compact little compact cardboard box they were coming in, they're in this much larger box, which I think had like sort of a plastic packaging insert and stuff, because the way it worked is there's a the big change is there's this foil face card now at the front, so you can sort of see one of the rares you're going to get, and say the it's got the little tag at the top so it can hang off a thing on the show. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so this is kind of the dark time for pre-constructed decks, because they are going down from 60 cards down to 41 cards. That only lasts until M11 though, but it does mean that Alara block, Zendikar block, and M10 are all 41 card decks, which is honestly not great. I don't know why they made that decision. It just means, honestly, when I get to talk about those decks, they're just not that interesting, because they're only they're much smaller. There is still card variety, but like there's hardly any play sets and stuff. They feel kind of unfocused, and it's such a shame, because Shards of Alara I think is an okay block, and same with Zendikar, and those decks, they could have really benefited from being full 60 card decks. You could have like really branched out, but they really had to like condense sort of card selection down into sort of like the bare minimum, really. And from what I remember, this was wildly unpopular when they announced that they were going to only make these decks 41 cards. However, going forward, they do also, these intro packs now contain a free booster pack. And that is kept like through all the way up until Eldritch Moon, which is the last set we're going to look at. I think at some point it switched over to be 2 free booster packs. They really wanted to incentivize people to buy these, because you were getting free booster pack. I guess the intent was you would buy it at 41 cards, open your booster pack, and like you would then maybe add more stuff from your booster pack to the deck, but then you're still going to be less than 60 cards, so I really don't know. I mean, I say that only lasted a couple of blocks. It went back up to 60 cards and still contained this booster pack, which I think is good, because then you have your deck, you open your booster pack, you play a few games with the deck as standard, then you look at your booster pack and then start making swaps possibly. So I think containing booster packs is a good thing, and sort of like it feels like you're getting kind of more for your money, essentially. Another thing that changes, which I'm sort of on the fence about, is that from now on, um, the decks don't solely use their own like sets card pool. So, for example, like a Shards of Alara deck will not contain just cards from Shards of Alara. They will also pull in cards from the most recent core set. So all these Alara decks also have cards from 10th edition as well. And that is something that's going forward for so like the I think Return to Ravnica decks will have M13 cards, all that kind of thing. Whatever the most recent core set is, that's used to kind of like fill the gaps essentially. And I think the reasoning for that was Wizards want to have this kind of like bridge that like new players would ideally they would have their first experience with the core set. And then they would maybe pick up one of these pre-constructed decks for the main set expansions, and the core set cards were kind of left in there, I suppose, as a bridge between the simpler core set and the more complex expansion set, I think. Which seems like weird reasoning to me. I think the other reason as well is just because if you expand the card pool to include core set cards, it means you don't have to necessarily put stuff that could be considered core set staples into a main set expansion. Because you can always look back and like go, oh, we need to reprint, say, I don't know, cancel. Actually, cancel's a bad example because the cancel was in 10th edition and it was in Shards of Alara for reasons I don't understand. But like you could say, we need in Shards of Alara we need to print a creature that's like just like a generic like 3/3 for 4 in red or something. But you'd say, oh, we don't need to because we can use like Hill Giant from 10th edition or something. Like, just an example like that. So it expands the card pool a little bit, which I think really helps. For the first set in a block where the card pool's not that deep. By the time you get to sort of second or third set, you can start looking back within sets within the block. So like with Conflux, it can pull in Conflux cards and Shards of Alara cards, and then maybe a little bit of 10th edition, and then finally when you get to say Alara Reborn, it's got all three sets to pull from, and it doesn't maybe need core set cards as much. But yeah, so that's going forward as well. That is going to start including cards from core sets. I said there's like a foil face rare at the start. There's the window in the packaging, so you can be like, oh, okay, I definitely at least get that rare, and it's always foil, which I think is kind of fun. And and obviously like the packaging and branding changes. So they are now they were originally theme decks. They are now intro packs, which I honestly think is a lot clearer with the intent. It's an introduction to the game for new players. And theme deck honestly didn't really like. I don't suppose like really meant anything that much. I don't know. Like it doesn't. You know what an intro pack is, but what's a theme deck? That could be anything. But yeah, so just making it a bit more clear what the intent is. So those are the main changes going forward. So the 41 card thing is the biggest thing because that's going to be apparent in the next 30 videos? Yeah, because that's all of Alara, so that's 15, and then M10, and then all of Zendikar. So actually, 35. So over the next 35 decks, these decks are going to be small. They're going to be down to 41 cards. But anyway, there we go. That's the end of my brief introduction for what we got coming forward. So let's just get cracking, and we'll make a start on Shards of Alara. So hopefully you'll come back and watch that video. And just want to say, if you've been watching up till now, thank you. Hope you continue to enjoy what I've got. If you're just joining us, welcome, and hope you enjoy the nostalgic ramblings and reviews. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.